I, Robot, by Isaac Asimov. Retold version. The Three Laws of Robotics. 1. A robot must not harm a human, and it must not allow a human to be harmed. 2. A robot must obey a human's order unless that order conflicts with the first law. 3. A robot must protect itself unless this protection conflicts with the first or second laws. Handbook of Robotics, 2058 AD. Introduction. I looked at my notes, and I didn't like them. I had spent 3 days at U.S. Robots. I needed more information for the articles I was going to write for my newspaper, Interplanetary Press. So I went to interview Dr. Calvin. Maybe she could tell me more. Susan Calvin had been born in 1982, so she was 75 now. At the age of 20, she had gone to a seminar by Dr. Alfred Lanning of U.S. Robots. There she saw the first robot with a voice. Susan was a cold girl, plain and colorless, and extremely intelligent. She had a mask-like look on her face to protect herself from the world. But as she watched and listened to Dr. Lanning, she felt more and more excited. She got her degree at Columbia University when she was 21 and began graduate work in cybernetics. 5 years later, she obtained her PhD and joined U.S. Robots as the first robot psychologist. She worked there for 50 years and watched the amazing developments in technology. Now she was retiring from the company. That was all I knew about her, but I needed more than that for my articles. "Dr. Calvin," I said to her, "we'd like to hear some of the things you could tell us about robots. My newspaper reaches the entire solar system. We have about 3 billion readers. They would like to know your views on robots. You want the human side of the story?" She didn't smile at me. I don't think she ever smiles. Her eyes were sharp, but not angry. "That's right," I said. "The human side of robots." "No, doctor, the human side of you." "Well, they have called me a robot, too." She got up from her chair. She wasn't very tall, and she looked weak. We looked out of the window. We could see the offices and factories of U.S. Robots. It was like a small city. "When I first came here," she said, "I had a little room in a building there," she pointed. "It was taken down before you were born. I shared the room with 3 others. We built our robots all in one building. We built 3 a week. Now look at us." 50 years is a long time," I said. She went back to her desk and sat down. "How old are you?" she asked. 32, I said. "Then you don't remember a world without robots. There was a time when humanity faced the universe alone. We had no friends. Now we have robots to help us. They are stronger than us, more faithful, more useful. We are not alone. Have you ever thought of it that way?" "I'm afraid I haven't." "To you, a robot is a robot. Gears and metal, electricity and positrons. Mind and iron. Made by humans. If necessary, destroyed by humans. But you haven't worked with them, so you don't know them. They're cleaner, better creatures than we are." She paused for a while, then she continued. "They might have been aware of that from the beginning. We used to sell robots for Earth use, even before my time. Of course, that was back when robots couldn't speak. Later on, as they became more human-like, opposition emerged. Labor unions naturally resisted robot competition for human jobs, and various religious factions held superstitious objections. It all seemed quite absurd and ultimately futile. Nevertheless, there it was, she reflected. "Let me tell you about Robbie," she continued. "I never personally knew him. He was dismantled the year before I joined the company, hopelessly out of date. But I came across the story of a little girl in the museum." She paused, and I chose not to interrupt, allowing her eyes to mist up as her mind traveled back. She had a lot of ground to cover. "I learned about it later, and when they accused us of blasphemy and being demon creators, Robbie always came to my mind. Robbie was a non-vocal robot. He couldn't speak. Manufactured and sold in 1996, those were the days before extreme specialization, so he was marketed as a nursemaid. "As a what?" I inquired. "As a nursemaid," she responded.